I just want to make it very clear that I am a believer of giving to those that are in need. Okay, that's number one. I'm using that as a basis of what I'm going to say, because what I'm going to say is going to be dedicated to leaders. I personally don't think that Malachi 3:10 and 3:10 and 11 is a good basis for teaching the church how to tithe. If you want to teach the church about Old Testament tithing, because that's what it is, I would go a little bit back into the Torah and start there. Starting in Malachi and the prophets, the minor prophets, is not a good place to teach about Old Testament tithing. Now, when it comes to biblical interpretation, context is what makes it make sense. Staying in the context of the scripture, it makes it make sense. Malachi 1 was a word to the nation of Israel. He was speaking to them. In Malachi 2, in the beginning, the chapter begins with "O priests." So that means that chapter 2 was written to the priests. In Malachi 3, it is the continuance to chapter 2, which keeps the context directed at the priests. So it wasn't the people that were robbing God, it was the priests that were robbing God for their tithes. And they were being corrected and rebuked because there was a condition. If you guys do it this, then this will happen. If you do this, that. That's Old Testament law. Mosaic conditionings and conditions under blessings and curses. Now, in the New Testament, the book of Acts, when it came to giving, a lot of the people, a lot of the servants that were, remember that the apostles had to choose some servants because they had to stick to preaching the word. So they needed servants to help distribute what was being brought in. And then if you go further up a little bit inside of the book of Acts, you see that the people would come and give at the drop their givings, their belongings to the apostles' feet, and they distributed it to everyone that was in need. So that way everybody was evened out. Everybody had what they needed. They were all blessed and they all worshiped the Lord. So I am for giving. That's cheerful giving. Okay? In the New Testament, giving is in there. But it's giving out of the Spirit. Not giving a tenth of what belongs. What belongs to, should I say, 10% of what you have or what you earn working. That's incorrect teaching. And for pastors to use Malachi 3:10 and 11 is just ironic that the context of the rebuke is going to the priests. Now we can get more historical and go back and figure out what they were doing, what the priests were doing with the tithes. And today, that's the teaching. That's the teaching of what the preachers are doing with their tithes today. And I believe that you will, man, God is going to correct you, bro, if you don't listen and you don't pay attention to people because you think you're too highly. I'm the pastor here. I'm the one that teaches, and you can't take correction. And I challenge the brothers and the sisters inside of the church to read the book of Malachi. Chapter for chapter, verse for verse, from beginning to the end. Pray. Read it. Use context, context, context. Who, when, what, when, where, and why. And trust me, you'll come into agreement of what I'm saying. Because context is what makes it make sense, Pastor. Malachi 3:10 ain't the basis for tithing. The basis for tithing, Old Testament tithing, goes further back. We can go back to Deuteronomy and Leviticus and go back then and understand what tithing is, because it was given under the law. Anything that was under the law, I believe, was under the Mosaic covenant, right? I mean, I'm not the perfect, most intelligent theologian, but one thing I did understand in Bible college is context, 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 bro. I'm telling you. Tithing and cheerful giving are two different things. Deucey.